Welcome to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV. This is where you get the latest updates on business, finance, economy, market, as well as investment information. If you couldn't follow us live on television, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, press the notification bell so that you can get notifications. Thank you. Enjoy this video. All right, let's quickly move on to our first interview. We're looking at markets this week. Of course, we've seen the market rally globally in the United States as well as Europe. The Fed decisions that came in yesterday, as well as the BOE, that's the Bank of England, decisions. Here in Nigeria, it's been like a topsy-turvy moment for the local bourse, as we've seen. Equities down. Are they not following their global counterparts, or the Trump effect is not impacting on the Nigerian market? Also, on another hand, we've seen that the Central Bank of Nigeria has given an approval to banks to trade with idle FX in their account. So to get more perspectives on this, joining me right now is Akpifo Onome Ohwovoriole, who is an analyst with Green Ticker Research. Hello, Akpifo, and welcome to the program.
Hello, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
Now, thank you for joining us. Now, let's get started. The Trump effects this week, is it going to wane anytime soon? Because, of course, this is a tradition that we've seen. Elections come with their own jamboree and all of that. How soon do we expect it to wane?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because he is going to be sworn in January. December typically is bullish year for stocks in the US. And this year so far, this year has been a good year for stocks. So I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. We broke a record with the S&P 500 this week, and I think that we're probably going to break a few more records before the year ends.
What would you say about our own market? It seems not to be following it as it were, you know.
I mean, for the NGX, the NGX had rallied a bit for a while. So what we're seeing is, maybe you might call it profit taking, maybe you might call it just generally weak sentiments and all that. But I didn't expect it to happen. And our market seems to be driven more by domestic players these days. So I wasn't expecting any of that. So far, it's been a good year. The market was up 30% so last week. So it's expected that at some point you have pullbacks from time to time. I mean, people want to take some bit of the table. Results have been just there. So I think this is kind of expected for the NGX.
So if you say our market, of course, is driven by domestic happenings and domestic investors, should we calibrate a Trump effect and perhaps a new president that is a bit hawkish on Africa? Not a bit hawkish, very hawkish. Trump never visited Africa when he was president the last time. So seeing that, and we've seen the Fed reducing interest rates, does that actually also mean, from your analysis, that it will not have an impact on equities in Nigeria, or, yes, on markets in Nigeria?
I mean, I think at some point, indirectly, it will. Usually the pattern is you see movement in fixed income, then you have movement in equity. All of a domestic issue. This year was a rough year in terms of movement in the FX rate, in terms of inflation spike that has stifled consumers. So if we have Fed cutting rates, continuing to cut rates, at some point in time, if we're able to get our macros right, I think we might see a return of foreign investors in Nigerian equity space. But the fixed income guys will probably enjoy that first. Then equities are usually on the last wing of the bullish market in terms of foreign investors.
How do you see the Nigerian market closing out this year? We're just a few days to the end of the year. Of course, Christmas is just by the corner. We know the culture and tradition around Christmas and how it impacts the market. Do you see us closing Or let me put it this way, how strong do you see us closing? Because perhaps we may close in the positive at the end of this year, talking about the equities market. But how strong?
I think that we're going to break a record. Year to date, the market is up nearly 30%. So yes, we would close positively. I don't see anything that will cause a 30% decline in the Nigerian market between now and the end of the year. I think we'll break a record. Yes.
What kind of record do you think we
November
will
so far.
break? Are we going to break the record we had, was it in 2021? Or even 2020, when there was COVID, I think, the Nigerian market broke a record, either 2020 or 2021. Are you saying that we will supersede what we did at that time?
I think would supersede the record this year. We broke the, if I recall correctly, we broke the 100K mark, 93 or 90. That's for the index. So I think we'll close the year above 100 for the oil share index.
The question will be for people that are watching, okay, if the market is going to break a record, how am I going to benefit from it? You know, talking about investors. That is on one hand. Then number two, I don't know if you've been following, of course, this week the DMO issued the savings bonds, and investors, of course, telling investors to buy. Of course, we know what the savings bonds are. A minimum of 5,000 naira investment and 50 million naira investment. And I know a lot of our viewers are keen to get this information. So please educate more on that, because we've been getting messages even privately as to how to invest, though that I've said it a few times here on the program. So go ahead, please, Akpifo.
Okay, so I'll start with stocks. I think that even though the market has run this year, there are pockets of opportunities here and there. If you have a long term, the calls have been seen down, obviously FX losses. So people look at the numbers and say, oh, telcos are recording losses. I believe would have a more stable next year. So if you have a long-term perspective, I think the telco space, the MTNs, the Airtel Nigerias, I think if one has a long-term perspective, then current price level seems good. Same for the brewers. Yes, it's been last few years have been tough, but if you have a bit of stability in the FX, then I think we'll have that next year. For the savings bond, you need to reach out to any asset management firm to sign up. I also think people need to invest on scale. So perhaps if you're doing, say, 5,000 naira a month, 10,000 naira a month, I think you probably would be better off the money market fund. If you're doing something fairly sizable, maybe 50K, 100K above, then the savings bond would be a good option for you as well.
Okay. I seem not to get what you said later. Can you come again? That if you have 100,000 naira and above, the savings bond would be it?
Yes, because I think in my view, if you're investing, say, 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira, even if you are doing a 15, 16%, I mean, 16% of 5,000 naira divided by 4, it's not much, right? So you're better off if you're investing, say, 10,000 naira, you're better off doing a money market fund. Accumulate, once you've built up a sizable amount, then you can scale up to instruments like that. So in my view, if you're doing 100K above, then you could then do a savings bond, do a T-bill and above. If you're doing a 10,000 naira a month, you need to consolidate it before moving up to investments like that.
Okay. Yes, I understand what you're saying, because it also depends on how much that you have. But for 5,000 naira entry into the savings bond, we'll be able to bring in a lot of people. Even someone doing pushing wheelbarrow in the markets can actually invest. All you need to do is to go to an investment or asset management firm. So just before we go, let's talk about the circular from the central bank to banks on investing idle FX. How did you take the news? Idle FX in DOM accounts, that the banks can trade with it?
My understanding of the circular is, I think it pertains to FX that we brought in as part of the Analyst.
Onome, are you
Honestly
still there?
speaking,
Okay.
even if you extend, you don't have much of idle effect. A lot of the idle effects belong. In my view, you don't have a lot of idle effects. So even for the amnesty, if I can call it that word, or the gap given to investors to bring in effects, how many people have idle effects, right? There are not many people. So I'm not expecting much. It's one thing to have a circular for banks. Yes, banks will try to optimize where they can, but there's not much of idle effects, and the effects available belongs to companies doing business. So I'm expecting much from the policy, if I can summarize it that way.
So you're not expecting many people to bring in their dollars to the banks. You're not expecting the amnesty to work. Okay. It seems that Onome's network has really now cut this
It's one
interview.
because
Okay, okay, I can
how
hear you
many
now.
people have idle effects? Those with the size target.
Okay. Onome, please just land on your thoughts.
I said those with the effects are pursuing.
Okay, I think at this point,
What's the side?
Onome, I think at this point we will leave it at that. Thank you for speaking with me this morning. Let's talk again soon and see how all this plays out. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content.